Recently, Air India has ordered a total of 470 planes from both Boeing and Airbus. This has been a really big news all over the world. But in India, nearly every airline has some planes on order. Combined with 500 of Indigo, 72 of Akasa, and 17 of Vistara, the total number of ordered planes in India exceeds 1,000. But apart from these orders, the Air India order happens to stand out the most. And this is because it is the single largest order in terms of aircraft number in history. The order includes 190 narrow-body and 30 wide-bodies from Boeing and 210 narrow and 40 wide-body planes from Airbus. Apart from these 470 planes, Air India also has options and purchase rights for 370 more planes. Being the biggest plane order in history, it also benefits a few countries, which are the UK, US, and France. And this is because Boeing is an American company. So basically, Air India is giving them business and producing jobs, resulting in an economic impact. The same is with France, which benefit from Airbus order, and finally the UK, where Rolls-Royce got the order for 68 engines, supporting the Airbus A350s. Now, if you are wondering why Air India put such a big order at once, you need a lot of explaining. About a year ago, Air India was bought by the Tatas. The company was failing badly and was desperately in need for a revival. After the Tatas bought the company, their main goal was to get the airline back up again. They want to appeal not just to the people of India, but the world to see Air India in the same category as Emirates or Singapore Airlines. So it's not just about making it the choice of Indians, it's about people from all parts of the world flying Air India. In the previous years, the carrier had been flying under capacity to most of its domestic and international destination, hoping to only target the highest earning routes. This opened the door to foreign carriers taking a large share of the market, led by the Middle Eastern airlines, Emirates, Qatar, and Etihad, and European ones like British Airways and Lufthansa. Foreign airlines have been responsible for about 60% of international traffic in India. The big three of Middle East, Emirates, Etihad, and Doha have been the go-to airlines for Indians if they want to travel international. And this is because all three of them have heavily invested in the Indian market. Emirates flies to 9 Indian cities, Etihad to 9 too, and Qatar to 12. By this, they are able to reach a large part of the Indian population and provide connections to any destination across the globe. Let's say you live in Cochin and you like to visit Paris. Of course, there are no flights to Paris from there, so an average customer would pick an Emirates or Doha flight, which will take a stop in the Middle East and then continue to Paris. There are several other cities in India, not just small ones, but big cities like Delhi, which doesn't have any sort of direct connection to several major destinations. Big US cities like Atlanta and Los Angeles have a large population of Indian people, and yet they are unconnected with direct flights. The 470 plane deal will help Air India to extend their web and connect Indian cities to the long-haul destinations and take on the Middle Eastern carriers who are currently responsible for a major chunk of Indian international travelers. This will provide global connectivity from India, and people doesn't have to go through other regional hubs like Dubai, Doha, Frankfurt, or Singapore. There will be a total of 70 wide-body planes which will be connecting these routes. The 777X and Airbus A350s ordered by Air India have about 16,000 kilometer range, so they will be implemented on the America and India routes. Now, as Air India grows and starts to put new planes on the long American routes, North American airlines wouldn't be able to be a competition. And this is because of the restricted airspace of Russia. The Russian airspace is restricted for all North American airlines, but not India. This gives Air India the freedom to rule on these routes, as North American airlines have to take long routes, which would eventually decrease their profits. It seems like Air India will be able to rule the North American due to no competition, but what will they do with their domestic routes where Indigo holds more than 50% of the sector? Well, talking about Indigo, they will not be easy to compete. They have 500 narrow-body planes on order, and they are currently looking to start their wide-body fleet, starting with leased 777s. They are already flying to some international destinations within the range of narrow-body planes and are on set to expand further. But for Indigo, further could only mean in the range of narrow bodies. For further Europe and North America, it looks like Air India will be the only one serving that market from India's side. Not to mention, they are merging with their second airline, Vistara, which will get them 59 more planes and also Vistara's share in the domestic market. Now, this might or might not be a shocker to you, but it is true. Two airlines are merging, and the airline will continue to be known as Air India due to its long presence in the international market. Vistara will have to give up its identity following the merger. The airline will rebrand the Vistara planes, and the total number of planes will exceed 160 plus the ones yet to be delivered. The first aircraft to arrive will be Boeing 737-800s and 6 Airbus A350s in the second half of 2023, with deliveries truly ramping up in 2025. The A350s are Aeroflot order, which was paused due to sanctions on Russia. To supplying the A320neo family aircraft to Air India, it is unlikely these will be delivered for some years to come. The backlog for these stands at more than 3,000 airplanes. The manufacturer is pushing toward a production rate of 65 aircraft per month by the summer of this year, but the environment remains complex. We cannot say when all 470 planes will be delivered, but we can say that Air India is coming back. Hopefully, in the next decade, we'll see the airline flying all over the world with its massive fleet of more than 600 planes.